Hi everyone, and welcome back to Bear's Reading Nook. I'm Kara, and today we're going to be doing a batch review of some of the books that I've read during the month of February. Oliver Twist. So, the copy that I have is like around 400 pages, something like that. I wanted to DNF it like 2 times at least. Yeah. So basically, first off, there is one character who is an obvious bad character, pretty early on, and also like having the background of seeing the movie and like a vague knowledge of Oliver Twist before reading this. There was an obvious, like, bad character whose nickname throughout the whole thing was just the Jew. Which was not a good thing at all. And, like, unless they were setting up, like, a scene or someone was specifically talking to him, like, that is the name that they would use. But, like, if they were setting up the scene or talking directly to that character, they would use his actual name. There was a use of the N-word, which I did not appreciate at all. Just saying. Also, to me, this being 400 pages didn't need to happen. Like, it could have been significantly less, in my opinion, and still get, like, the point across of, like, what happens in this book. For me, this book was so dense that I ended up having to do an audiobook while reading this, and because of how much I didn't want to be reading this book, but I was already, like, so close to finishing, so normally I listen to audiobooks on double speed. I had this, I think, on 2.25, or, like, I had it over double because I wanted to finish this so badly, just to get it off my TBR. Yeah. So all of that for me made this one, also just how dark, and, like, awful some of the stuff that happens is. Yeah, all of that, 1-star read for me. As far as, like, the dark stuff in here, like, I understand the point, but I think for me, that made it even more, like, dense and hard for me to read. Also, the whole thing that spawns basically his entire, all his issues, was a really dumb thing to kick it off, but I don't know. It was weird. Didn't like it. Hated this. We'll probably unhaul. Next is in other news. So this is one that I got a review copy of, a free copy for an honest review. There we go. And this one, before I even talk about the book, let's see, there is content warning for, sexual assault, bullying, victim blaming, talk about suicide attempts, the use of the F word as it relates to members of the LGBTQ community. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on with this book, but with that out of the way, this book follows Marlon, who is a sophomore returning to college after being assaulted over the summer. And he returns to the same school that he was previously attending, and the person that had assaulted him was also attending there. So that causes a bunch of problems because the person who assaulted Marlon has been expelled, and his friends and his girlfriend are not happy about that, and they blame Marlon for those issues. So this book basically follows Marlon's journey from returning up through the trial, basically. So this book is done very well. I definitely felt the anxiety that Marlon was feeling as far as, like, coming back to the school. And I just feel like the way that the book is written is good, and in a way it was well researched. To me, often when I think about or, like, hear about sexual assaults, I automatically assume that a female was the victim, which is not always the case. It is not always the case. And so part of why I wanted to read this is giving a fictional perspective on what a male victim would go through. And it was really hard to read. There was especially one scene that was very intense. But this book, seriously, it was so well done, and I do recommend checking this book out if the content warnings are not something that you need to steer away from. If those content warnings are things that you need to not read about, totally understand. Do not put yourself through reading this just because I think it's good. So this one ended up being a 4-star because I did really enjoy it, but it was almost too intense for me to... I do want to recommend this, but because of, like, the content warning and stuff, I know this is not for everyone, and there are intense scenes. Thus, why, in my mind, it's really good, but not one that I feel like I can openly recommend, if that makes any sense. But I really enjoyed it. 4 stars. The next book that we're going to talk about is One Little Secret. Since this was the first book that I read for Blockathon, let's just talk about this. So this is by Kate Houlihan, and this follows 3 couples who get a, like, Airbnb type of thing for, I believe, I want to say it was the summer while their kids are at camp. And basically by morning one day, one of the women is found dead. And the police are basically trying to figure out who did it. And as the story continues, we kind of flash back to the day that the body was found and the day before, from different characters' perspectives, and kind of learn different secrets that they have, which I thought was a really cool perspective to do, and it didn't feel jarring. It actually did the opposite of just making me want to go back and read, like, more of whatever chapter perspective, like, whatever perspective the previous chapter is. So if I was in the day that the body was found, I wanted to read another chapter of that, and if it was past, I wanted to read more of that. But yeah, I really did enjoy this one. This one was a 4-star read, and yeah, I want to check out more of her books because I did enjoy this one a lot. Next, we have They All Fall Down. I wanted to like this book. I really did. This one ended up being like an it's okay 3-star read for me. So this one takes the basic premise from the Agatha Christie book, And Then There Were None. So basically it follows I believe 7 characters who are kind of like sent to an island for various reasons, depending on the person. And basically, once there, they are told that the reasons they were sent there for are actually not the real reason, and that it is in fact something else. And then during the time that they are there for, I believe, like a weekend, they are slowly starting to be killed off, and they have to figure out who and what, who is killing them and why, basically. And I guess my issues with this book is, first off, it's obvious from the get-go who the killer is, for me at least. And just like as this book went on and like secrets were revealed, I didn't like any of the characters, which I don't think you are supposed to in this book. Yeah, this wasn't my favorite, but I gave it a try. Now I know. Maybe I will give them a second chance with another book. And the final book in this review is Wife of the Gods. So this was the group book for Team Horror Thriller from Blackathon and for Blackathon. And this was basically a mystery surrounding the death of a college student, I believe. And the main character is brought in to the town that the murder took place to kind of like help with the investigation. And I really enjoyed this one, actually. First off, I didn't even like guess who the killer was. And looking back, I can see kind of like certain things that may have hinted at that. But I enjoyed not knowing who it is, especially coming off of this one where I kind of like, I had a few ideas on They All Fall Down as far as like what could be the like thing, but as far as who the killer was, I mean, to me it was pretty easy to figure out. But Wife of the Gods was really good. I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed just like the almost like immersion into the area that the like story takes place, just based on like descriptions as well as different words describing like different things that are present in that setting. Really enjoyed it. 4-star read. Those are the books that I'm reviewing today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time in the Bear's Nook. Bye!